Hello, 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 world. This is your host, Louise Hicks of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. And this came across my feed, so I thought that I would just share with you and just give my perspective about what's going on. And as you all know, this weekend was quite a scare for former President Trump. And I'm going to elaborate because these two videos that I'm going to share with you tie in together. So let's talk about what's going on here and let's get my perspective. And I'm going to talk about America Gone Wild because it appears that we have so much going on. And with that said, let's share the video and then I'm going to come back. And it's from the Black congregation with Phillip Scott, and he has some very valid points that he's talking about. So let's go ahead and share. And I'm going to let you listen to this. It's about this white woman telling young people to get out of America because she's saying America is pretty much doomed. So let me share, and then we're going to take it from there. So give me a moment here, and I'm going to bring this up again. I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Please share, leave your comments, give it a thumbs up, give it a like, and I'd love to hear what you have to say about this because it's pretty interesting what this woman is saying. So let's take a listen here.
So you have a white lady that's realizing some things about America, and I want you to hear the advice she's giving to young people. But it's a reason she's saying this. Let's go ahead and roll it.
Young people, I am an old woman, and I would like to give you some life advice. Get out. Get out of this place while you're still young. Before you start a career, before you start a family, before you buy a house, get out of here and start building a life someplace else. Because this country cannot be saved. And it's not just because all of our politicians are owned by AIPAC. It's not just because our Supreme Court is corrupt and our judges are corrupt and our police departments are corrupt and they're building cop cities everywhere. It's because the American people as a whole are not worth saving, and they are not going to fight to make this country any better. They are fine with the status quo. We cannot save this country because the majority of American people don't want to save it. They watch as our rights are taken away every single day, and they don't care as long as somebody else is suffering. They're willing to suffer as well. It's insanity. And now they want to draft you. They've destroyed the planet. You will never be able to retire. You will never be able to own a home. And now they want you to fight the wars of old white men. So get out. Get out of here while you still can.
The reason, ma'am, that you're feeling this way is because Black Americans aren't coming to save you anymore. See, every time y'all got in a problem, Black Americans always came to your rescue, always saved you from yourself. In every aspect in history, we saved you. Because leave it up to you, you destroy everything. Just look at your history in Europe. We've always been the glue that kept this country together. And now Black Americans are saying, nah, we cool, y'all do it, y'all smarter, right? Y'all supreme, right? Y'all do it. Or let them other groups that you importing in here, let them do it. Watch how things work out for you, right? And now because we're not coming to your rescue like we used to, notice how more and more of them, Black people, we need to save democracy. Then on the Republican side, Black people, y'all need to vote Republican because look at all this stuff they're doing. Everybody coming, notice that Democrats and Republicans are coming to Black people talking about save America now. It's not just Democrats anymore, it's Republicans too. And as Black Americans, we're like, well, look, check this out. Where my reparations at? Where's my reparations? I'm like, I don't want to hear no talk about anything.
Okay, let's stop for a moment and let me shed some light. You see that picture there? Reparations? He's right. He's right. I agree 100% with Phillip Scott here because we built this country. Everybody is getting our money, tax dollars. Neither one of these snakes is talking about reparations, the Republicans or the Democrats, because I consider them one snake with two heads. So let's talk about what this white woman, I don't know who she is. However, she says, first off, she's an old woman. No, she's not an old woman. I'm not even an old woman. And I am 73 years of age. However, I have seen a lot here in this country. I've gone through a lot here in this country. And when she says about destroyed, who destroyed this country? And she speaks of the old white men. That's who was running this country. All of this came from the root cause, writing of the Constitution by these white men at that time. That's what has created all of this destruction within America. Who destroyed this country? Who was running this country? And she was right. She talked about all the corruption from the politicians, the courts. I mean, we are living in a very divided, chaotic country. And it didn't just get divided, it was divided from the start. Because once you identify a specific group, that being the enslaved people that you brought over, your ancestors, whoever you are, the white woman that's talking here, your ancestors brought these Black Africans over here and deemed them as property, three-fifths of a person. That was the first destruction of America. And there's a saying that you reap what you sow. So this country is reaping what they sow because they have not ever done right by Black Africans that were brought to this country. So that's your problem number one. The root cause of it is slavery. And until you fix that and give the reparations that are owing, you're going to have a problem. You're going to forever have a problem here. That's what needs to be fixed. And now you're telling people to run away, get out of America. Do you think that's going to solve the problem? It's the powers that should not be that created this destruction within America. And that's who you need to be directing to for them to stop what they're doing because they're going to continue to destroy the country. As you say, these old white men and going to war and fighting. Who was put on the front line going to war? Black men were. Because you know what the elite, quote unquote, did? They sent their children to Canada and other locations or put them in elite schools and so forth because they had the power to do that. They didn't go to war. Most of them didn't. Many of them didn't. Our Black men were put on the front line to fight the war and didn't come back. Many of them came back in body bags. Some of them didn't come back at all. And I had classmates that didn't make it back who went to that Vietnam War. So what you're talking about has some merit. However, the destruction came from the origin of America when the British came over and they began the country based on a lie. God said all men are created equal. They put that in their constitution. However, are all men created equal? Yes, in God's sight. However, look at Matthew 24 and see what's happening. All of these things that are happening now, they're destined to happen because of who created this chaotic mess here. White so-called supremacists. That's who created the problem. And until they began to recognize and realize, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? Because you have the power to stop this. The white power structure, they are the ones that need to be put in check. So until you do right by Black Americans, you're giving all this money to Ukraine, you're giving it to uh, the migrants, the illegal migrants that are coming over here that the Biden-Harris administration are allowing. And they have an agenda. That agenda is to make these people citizens, replacing Black people. You notice where they're putting them all? They're putting them in the Black community. So I agree with what Phillip Scott is saying. So let's continue and let Phillip continue his conversation because he is on target what he's saying. So we're going to continue to let him carry on here. I agree with him.
I get my reparations. I need mine. Because one thing you Democrat and Republican thinking folks, y'all both are in agreement about us not getting reparations. So, hey, you can eat cake for all I care. And look, I'm not trying to save a thing. I'm not. Because my people have done enough in this country. My people built this country. My people fought in wars and conflicts for this country. And what has happened to Black Americans for all of that? Y'all have still done us wrong. Y'all haven't paid us reparations. You still didn't give resources to everybody else that belong to us, to other groups. But yeah, you want to come back, Black America, we got to do something about democracy. Black America, look what the Democrats are doing. You got to help us. Like, no. Y'all going to figure that thing out on your own. Well, some of you say, well, Phil, we don't do nothing. We are living here. If it goes down, then, look, we're going to be fine. We came from nothing. We'll be fine. We can rebuild here if we wanted to, or we can go rebuild somewhere else. We good no matter what. We are good. Those of you who got U.S. passports and you made sure your kids had U.S. passports, if you want to build somewhere else, you can too. Like, I'm not saving them. I'm sorry. You may want to save them. I'm not saving nobody. Only people I'm looking at now is Black America. Or if you're not Black American and you someone outside of the community and you a cool individual, I'm cool with you as an individual, but I'm not doing the group thing with nobody. No, because we tried that. We tried to be there for every group, and every group has gave us their middle finger and their butt to kiss. All of them have done it. Definitely the folks more than any other group has done it. Time after time after time after time again. Folks, listen. We was enslaved. You came to us and say, hey, help us get the British off our back, and we give you your freedom. We did that, and you put us right back in slavery. We in slavery still. Lincoln, well, if you come fight for the Union, we'll get you out of slavery. Okay, we did that. We got out of slavery. We had Reconstruction, about 10 years or so. And then what ended up happening? We were betrayed. And then all the Jim Crow and all that mess started coming in. We didn't get our 40 acres and a mule. We didn't get any of it. Some people started getting it, which we know from news reporting. But that program only lasted a year. So no. So save y'all from what? Every time we save y'all, it's always we at the bottom. We call the N-word. Oh, no. So if it goes down, it goes down. You get what you deserve. You smart, right? You supreme. Know what you say? Figure it out since you're so supreme. See, if you'd have done right by Black people, you wouldn't be in this position. But see, the evil that is part of that, what with white supremacy is, I'd rather America go down the drain than Black people have anything, or Black people even have an equal footing in America.
Let's stop for a moment and let's reflect on what Phillip Scott is saying. He talks about evil and people getting what they deserve. because you have to recognize and realize that we're not the enemy. We've never been the enemy here. However, we've been treated like we are the enemy, and it's still going on. I can attest to that. As I mentioned earlier, I'm 73 years of age. Black people go to their jobs traumatized on a daily basis. Often this is happening. I know from personal experience. It has happened to me in the county of Los Angeles, where I had to file lawsuits because of discrimination and put myself through college against the odds in California when illegal, as they say back in the day, illegal aliens were getting free education in California off of my ancestors' tax dollars. They were benefiting. I came from a different state and was considered out of state as if I'm not a citizen of the United States. However, because that happened to me, I was very, very committed and had the confidence and the courage to graduate from college in 4 years, right out of high school from another state, because I did my due diligence, working very hard to get my bachelor's degree in social work in 4 years, in spite of being treated like I was the non citizen here in America as a Black young woman at the time, being 18 years old, graduating from college against the odds in 4 years when I was considered an out of state, may as well say an out of the country, out of not even a citizen. And that was a disgrace upon California because you're letting illegal aliens come in. They can go to school, to college, as if they were a resident of California, but I couldn't because I came from a different state. And that may be still going on because I graduated from high school in 69, graduated from college in 1973. So this stuff is still going on. And when he mentions about other groups, he's right. Philip is absolutely correct because other groups did not lift a finger to do anything except a few white people did, and the other groups didn't. However, they are benefiting. And then this woman in California, the congresswoman there, had the audacity to vote against reparations in California, Miss Sanchez. And her people benefit tremendously, significantly from the hard work that Dr. Martin Luther King did. And prior to him, Marcus Garvey, Frederick Douglass, Ida B. Wells, Ida B. Wells, Fannie Lou Hamer. I mean, our people were in the forefront fighting for civil rights here. These other groups did not lift a finger. However, they're benefiting and they have the audacity to hate on Black people. And we go to these corporations and they're hating on us when we are working very dedicated, committed, and diligently. I'm speaking facts because it happened to me. And I was highly discriminated against when my white counterparts walked around doing nothing all day. However, you have to know how to document. And this is not just in the South. I was in California, come to Texas, same situation. So it happens all over the United States where we are still, to a certain extent, enslaved by the powers that shouldn't be because they do not want to honor the debt that is owed, as Phillip Scott so eloquently expressed here. So he's right. And this white woman now, she's seeing, and she's not old, she's young. Based on looking at her, she's young. And I'm not old, and I'm 73. And she's talking about from an old woman. No, she's not an old woman. And this is nothing new, all of this corruption. The Constitution was found on corruption. When you name a person three-fifths, a whole person, we're not three-fifths of a person. We are a whole person. just like everybody else. We are human beings. However, we have never been treated like human beings in America to this day. And I'm doing this podcast today. This is 2024. And as I mentioned earlier, I'm going to share and shed some light on the attempted assassination on Saturday of former President Donald Trump. America has gone wild, and America has been wild. It started from the inception being wild. So we have fought, we have done our work here, and we're still doing our work, yet we are still not being made whole. And for some of those who will say, well, you weren't enslaved. And my question back to you, you weren't enslaved either, but you were benefiting from our ancestors' work that we did. My ancestors, you're benefiting from that work where they were beaten, hanged, raped by men and women, because some of the men were raped by the white women back in slavery. So it wasn't just men raping, there were women raping black men and white women raping black men, white men raping black women. They didn't care. And they were making black men commit incest. All they wanted was some babies so that they can have more slaves. They were making black men have sex with their mothers, their sisters, their aunties, the grandmother, if she was able to produce. This is the evil that's continuing today, is perpetual evil. So he's right about evil. But what we have to recognize and realize within our Black community that we need to focus on, and we have some inappropriate behaviors that we need to check ourselves on. And I'm going to do a video on that, particularly that BET Awards. I'm going to do that's a separate conversation where Stephen A. Smith was speaking, and I feel he's out of touch with the reality of the Black community and some of these others. You don't speak for me. So what we have to realize is 2 Timothy 1:7, where it says, for God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. And notice power comes before the word love, because you have no power. It makes it very difficult for you to love. And this self-love is so important, because if you have self-love, you can love your fellow man. And that is not gender specific. So we have to recognize and realize we have to do our due diligence, and we have to stop, as Phillip Scott said, lifting up all these other groups who are benefiting. And what do we get? Hate. Look at the city council in Los Angeles, what they were saying, how they talked about this young boy. Go back and do your research about the city council in LA, the Hispanic community, what they were saying about a young Black child. And they got caught. I mean, this stuff is real, everybody. So we as a Black community have to start uplifting one another, empowering ourselves. And we have to continue to do that and continue to fight for what is owed, the debt that is owed to us as being heirs, because white people are heirs to their ancestors and they are benefiting from being those heirs where our folks built this country. So don't tell me that we don't deserve reparations because we weren't enslaved. Candace Owens, you need an education too, and I've already done a podcast on you. Again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host of Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Please share this video. Leave your comments, thumbs up, like, and I don't care what anybody says, because we have to continue on the journey of fighting for our liberty as human beings God created us as whole human beings. So how are we going to allow a man in the Constitution to deem us as their property and three-fifths of a person? They're still acting like we are their property. As I mentioned, you go to work and you're traumatized. You treat it like three-fifths of a person or less in the workforce. And I'm the type of person that will speak up, and I've spoken up. I've spoken up on jobs where white men and women and Hispanic as well, and Asians as well. I've gone through it because I've worked in Texas. I've worked in California more years than anywhere because I've lived there practically all my life. And I'm telling you what I know. And this white woman to tell people to get out now because America can't be saved. You know why? Because who destroyed it? Your people destroyed, and they're still destroying. So that's who you needed to be talking to. Talk to your powers that shouldn't be and let them know what they're doing. But I guess they don't care. They'll go down in destruction as well with this country because this country is destroying itself. And guess who's destroying it? As you mentioned, these old white men want you to go out and fight when they didn't even allow their children to fight. They put our children on the front line to fight because they were sending their children to Canada and everywhere else, school, whatever. So all of this stuff is karma. You reap what you sow. God said he will make your enemy your footstool, and we have never been your enemy. We've been the closest ally to the white supremacists. So you need to solve your problem. You created it, so you're so supreme. I'm with Phillip Scott. You're so supreme. Solve your problem. You created it. So let's continue to hear what Phillip has to say. And I'm going to close out this video. So let's go back to sharing the rest of what he has to say. Give me a moment here. Let's get back to it. Here we go.
But I always say they're gonna do reparations. They're gonna be put in a position they're gonna have to. They're not gonna do it because they want to. They're gonna do it because they have to. That's it. And it's gonna be more so they're doing it to save themselves from something. Well, I don't know what that something may be, but yeah. We're not coming to your rescue no more. So don't be. And you could tell young people to leave and all that sort of thing. But let's think about it. Y'all have messed this country up so much that young people, they really don't have the money to leave. And if they do leave, they taking a certain kind of risk. Now, some young people making good money, and they can work remotely and things like that. But a lot of young people, y'all messed this country up so much that they can't even get a place to stay. They still living with their doggone parents when they should have been gone from the parents' home. I remember the stigma of you as a man. You didn't want to be in your mammy's house because that was going to block you from getting girls. You say it's your mama? Oh, hell no. I don't know no mama's boy. That's what they would say about you, right? But today a guy can stay with his mama and it's not a problem. So no, y'all fix it on your own. We good. We're going to worry about ourselves now.
Okay, I'm going to stop because he's right. We are good. We're good because we are used to survival. All the towns that were built by our people after, quote unquote, being freed by President Lincoln, Abraham Lincoln, the Emancipation Proclamation, where he didn't do that out of love for slaves. He did it to save the Union, keep the Union together. And we know the public educational system is not going to give you the truth about this country's history of evil, all of the atrocities. Karma is here, big time. And until America does the right thing, it's going to continue to crumble. Babylon is falling. America is falling. So, and I did say that I'm going to share with you uh, the situation and address a little bit of that about President Trump being an attempted assassination on him this weekend by this 20-year-old. So it's so sad of everything that has gone on so far in America. And this stuff is has been brought on by the power structure here. That's how it's all started. And with former President Trump, with the attempted assassination this Saturday, that was sad. My condolences that he is okay. My condolences to the victims, because it was my understanding that an innocent bystander was an innocent bystander. Just think about it. An innocent bystander. I mean, you're at a rally and shots ring out and people are running, not running. I didn't see them running. However, they were ducking and trying to get away from the shots. I mean, what are we coming to? America has gone wild. And this 20-year-old out here attempting an assassination upon former President Trump. His name was Thomas Matthew Crooks. Thomas Matthew Crooks, Crooks. Crooks. And that's what some of these politicians are, a bunch of crooks, corrupt. That's why this country is in the situation it's in. They have pretty much destroyed America. And it started from the inception of the Constitution. So let's go and look at this video, and I will elaborate a little bit more on this attempted assassination. Here we go.
And you know, that's a little bit old, that chart. That chart's a couple of months old. And if you want to really see something that's sad, take a look at what happened.
Move to the spare. Hold. When you're ready. On you. Ready. Move. Up. Move. Go. Up. Hawkeye's here. Hawkeye's here. Move to the spare. Spare, get ready. Spare, get ready. We ready? Shooters down. Shooters down. Are we good? Shooters down. Are we good to move? Shooters down. We're good to move. We're clear. Let's move. Let's move. We're clear.
Let me get my shoes. Let me get my shoes.
I got you, sir. I got you, sir.
Let me get my shoes, sir.
Hold that in your head. It's bloody.
So we got to move to the bus. Move to the bus. Let me get my shoes.
Okay, my shoes down. My shoes.
Watch out.
Wait.
Okay, let's stop the share. And this was a sad weekend. Here's a young 20-year-old Thomas Matthew Crooks who made an attempt to assassinate, and now he's dead because they took him out. And there were witnesses who were saying that they were trying to get the attention of the security people out there. And apparently, when they did, he was hiding somewhere up on a rooftop, they said, I believe, within 50 feet or so away. And if former President Trump had not turned his head, he may not be here today. So the bullet apparently pierced his ear. So what are we coming to? America has gone wild. America has gone wild. However, us in the Black community, as this woman was saying, all of the corruption and what the young people need to do, we are survivors. And again, I want to remind all of our people, particularly the Christian people who are saying they're Christians, and some of them are so fearful of everything, and they've forgotten about the scripture, 2 Timothy 1:7, that says God has not given us the spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. Where's that sound mind when you're out here so fearful? You're scared, you're afraid to speak up, you're afraid to speak out. And I admire these young Gen Xers, Millennials, and Zs who are out here now, grassroots. They aren't afraid to speak up and speak out. And we need more baby boomers. The silent generation, I believe Dr. Claude Anderson is a silent generation. And he has been saying this for years. And one thing I can say, I see quite a few young people out here now who are speaking about Dr. Claude Anderson. So I'm glad you're reading and in touch. I read his book, Black Labor, White Power, back in the 90s. I have all of his books. I've seen him in person. I have pictures with Dr. Claude Anderson. I've been knowing about Dr. Claude Anderson. He has been an inspiration for me since I read his book back in the 1990s, Black Labor, White Wealth. If you don't have it, get all of Dr. Claude Anderson's books. I believe he may be 90, or if not, he's approaching it. He has been saying these things all along that I see a lot of the Gen Xers, the Millennials, even the Zs are picking up on Dr. Claude Anderson. And Oprah, I'd like to say something about Oprah. All those years she had a show. She never had Dr. Claude Anderson on that show, and he should have been one of her people. However, because she has knuckled under to the powers that shouldn't be, to make sure she kept her money, her shows, because some people will do anything for money. They'll sell out their mother for money. She never had Dr. Claude Anderson on her show. I wonder, does she even know who he is? If she does, I've never heard her mention him. And I used to admire Oprah. I started watching her shows, but after I started reading and coming into a new awareness and awakening, I had lost respect for Oprah because I don't see her out here fighting for her community. She may make a few comments from now and then. And the sad part about it, she had white people on her show calling her a monkey to her face, but she never had Dr. Claude Anderson on her show. So Oprah, I'm speaking to you now. You still have an opportunity to reflect. You need to reflect. You are a powerful billionaire, you and all the other billionaires. What have you done to come together and build something collectively? We need to build ownership. We need educational institutions so we can teach our children the truth. We need financial facilities so we can loan money to our own, because it's difficult for Black folks to go and get money from these banks, the white banks. We need to own medical institutions because it's difficult for us to get adequate medical care. And I've done some podcast about that because I know firsthand, and I'm going to do another one about that, about the medical, the substandard care that Black people get and how we're treated in the medical industry. I'm going to be doing a podcast about that. We need distribution centers. We need more entrepreneurs to hire our people so that we don't have to go to these white corporations traumatized, them treating us like we are second-class citizens. And I've even had to tell white men and women that I'm not your slave, and I refuse to come to your job and be treated like a second-class citizen. Never been fired, mind you, because I had the goods on them. I know how to document. I know how to articulate and do my due diligence, and that's what we have to learn to do. And again, I'm Louise Hicks, your host of this podcast, Aim to Purpose Spiritual Empowerment Hour. Please share this video because we must empower our own. We must stop out here listening to a lot of these entertainers, particularly the ratchet entertainers such as Sexy Red, and watching such filth as the BET, what it has become now. I don't even watch those programs anymore. I see clips on what they look like, and it's a disgrace how we are presented, and we are allowing that, and we are participating in it. Get your own entertainment industry. You have the mindset to do it. So why not get your own entertainment industry? We have too many multimillionaires who are still enslaved, the sports figures. We once upon a time had our own. But Jackie Robinson decided to go and integrate. Blackball, I've shared that with you before. How the Black athletes had it going on with their own sports. People were going to see them because of their brilliance. We are a brilliant melanated people. So bring that power on. We must continue to fight for reparations. We're heirs. And I've had white people to tell me, oh, well, we didn't do it, but you're still doing it. I'm a living witness of it. All the discrimination that I've had. Housing, where when I bought a house in Downey, California, they had to change the deed restrictions because no Black people could live in that community when it was built in the 1940s, late 1940s. That's a disgrace. It's an evil. Karma is here. You reap what you sow. Read Matthew 24, like I said, and you will see why all these things are happening. America is being destroyed. And who's destroying it? It started with the inception of, as this white woman is saying, your people did this, your folks. Your folks are the destruction of America and all the divisiveness that's here. This didn't just start. So again, it's unfortunate what happened to former President Donald Trump. And just to elaborate a little bit on that, there are many of the powers that may be that allowed him to be president for 4 years. However, he goes against the grain. He's not your typical president that we've had in the past. And that's one of the things that they want to do is rein him in and have him to do what they want him to do. But this is a businessman he has not knuckled under to the elite powers that may be. He has gone against the grain. President Biden and Kamala Harris, I'm not voting for either one, Trump or President Biden. I didn't vote for them last time and won't be voting for them this time. I'm not voting for either one because, like I said, they're one snake with two heads, one with red on it, one with blue, Democrats and Republicans. And until we start recognizing that and demanding something for our vote, we're going to stay in the situation we're in. So let's demand. When they start talking about reparations, I will vote for whoever is ready to give us our return on our ancestors' investment because we are heirs, just like white people are benefiting from our folks' labor. They have become heirs to that labor of our ancestors. So we need to get our portion of being heirs from all the free labor, and not only free labor, all of the atrocities, the hangings again, the beatings, hanging men and women, the rapes, the incest, evil, just evil, and hate, and it's still going on. So let's reflect to my Black community that I started this podcast to uplift. And I'd like to thank Phillip Scott for bringing this white woman on and him letting his audience know his perspective. And I agree with his perspective. And that's why I'm sharing it with my audience. So please subscribe. Let's subscribe to my channel so that I can continue to bring you uplifting, informative content, because we must work together and unify in order to get what is owed. That's a debt. Reparation is a debt that's owed. And we must continue to empower one another. We have to be our brothers and sisters' keeper. Unify and call out these wretched people, these rappers, such as Sexy Red and all of that BET junk. Call it out. Call out to Stephen A. Smith. And I'm going to do a podcast about that as well. So with that said, I always tell you, your power lies within you, and let it loose because your destiny is your command. And we must stay on code. We must unify, and we must put the unity in action that's in community. That's important. And I am Louise Hicks, this mad Black woman, and that is for motivated and determined to support and help elevate my people, Black people, to a higher level of consciousness. And again, your power lies within you. Let it loose because your destiny is your command. And let's put that unity in action that is in community. Thank you all. Subscribe, subscribe, subscribe. Share, share, share. Like. Thumbs up, thumbs up, thumbs up. And thank you all again for all of your support. I appreciate all of my subscribers. Please share again, share, share, share. Continue to have others to subscribe. Tell them about the channel because we're here to uplift one another, to elevate. We're here to elevate. We must continue to fight for what is owed, that debt, reparations. And I will see you all in the next video. And thank you, thank you, thank you. Much love.